Hello everyone, Crimson Typhoon 7 here, back with another retro deck profile for the September 2011 format. Today we'll be looking at my junk Doppel list that I actually got 4th place with in the Tengumaina 2 tournament that was run this weekend. I had a lot of fun playing this deck in the tournament. I got knocked into loser's bracket as early as round 2, so I had to really grind a bunch of wins to even top the event. But overall, this deck did perform very well for me, and I will go through the card choices as I go through the deck. Shoutouts to everybody that played in the event. It was a lot of fun, and there were a lot of different decks. The Falcon Punch deck that won, definitely check out if you haven't seen that. It just abuses Miss Valley Falcon and continuous traps to just get an insane amount of advantage. That deck is so cool. But anyway, let's get started with the deck list. Starting it off with 3 Junk Synchron. If I'm going to play this deck, I'm going to run 3 of this card because it's one of the namesakes of Junk Doppel. Um, yeah, it lets me make big monsters, and it's the centerpiece of the deck. It lowers and you play the deck. One quick draw, I was always running 2, but I wanted as many high impact cards as possible if I was ever going to have a chance of winning a long tournament with a deck like this. So because I run 3 tuning, one quick draw is fine because if I really need to see it, I have 4 copies of it basically. But other than that, I don't want to see a card that just special summons itself by discarding. So when I wanted to see it, this card was insane, but I didn't see it too often, which was exactly how I wanted it. 2 Doppel Warrior, I think 2 is the right number. This card, it's also the other half of the namesake of Junk Doppel. Um, this card is insane, and the tokens it gives are insane. Them having 400 attack did come up because having 1 Doppel token got me 100 over lethal one game, which is very nice. Yeah, this is the ideal target for your Junk Synchron, and if it's already in hand, then you can just target something else, specialist from hand, and go off. For the Lightsworn package I played 1 Lila and 2 Raikou. I was on 3 Raikou for a while, but once I discovered that Lila was a card and it's a proactive back row destruction instead of a reactive card, I was very happy playing it. Some games I did just normal summon this, mill 3 cards and pass. Like, it's a good enough play in a format that's pretty slow. Yeah, I was very happy with this Lightsworn package, and I do have the Charge of the Light Brigade to go with it. So yeah, they definitely perform. For the Chaos monsters, I'm on 1 BLS and 1 Chaos Sork. I was on 2 Chaos Sork for the longest time. I was really playing like a Chaos focused list with Arcanite Magician in the extra deck, but I cut it down to 1 Chaos Sork because I didn't want to brick on big dudes, especially in a long tournament where one game or one or two bad hands in a match and you can just get out of the tournament. So I cut Chaos Orc down to 1, but these cards are super impactful. So I was very happy leaning into the 2 Chaos cards. I think you should always try and find room for at least 1 Chaos Sorcerer in this list. For hand traps, I have the 1 Gores because Gores. I'm on 2 Valor and 3 Max C. 2 Valor is I lack lights more than darks. It's very easy for me to get darks for my chaos monsters, so having the 2 Valor is very nice. It's also a level 1 tuner that I can summon off Junk Synchron, so you can go Junk Synchron, bring back Valor, special summon Doppel Warrior, and then that in itself is TG Librarian and Formula for the Pot of Greed play, so that's very nice. And then also it's just Valor, so just the overall negation part is good. I was on 3 Max C because at the very worst, if I draw multiple of this, I can quite simply, on my own turn, activate it, and then I have a level 2 or lower monster in graveyard for Junk Synchron, which I did do 1 or 2 times where I just activated it on my turn just to have a target. It's very nice. This card is insane. I mean, it kills my deck, so if they get to play it, I get to play it too, essentially. Um, Moving on to the plant package, I'm on 1 Debris, 1 Glove Bulb, 1 Dandy, and 1 Spore. You will notice a complete lack of Lone Fire Blossom. And the theory behind that was I am on Tengus, so I have 3 Tengus I want to normal summon. I have 3 Junk Synchron I want to normal summon. I have a Lila I want to normal summon, and I have 2 Raikou I want to set. I don't really need a plant monster that is only good if I normal summon. I only wanted plant monsters that did something in graveyard if I milled them or discarded them, and I was very happy with that. And because I don't have Lone Fire, my Spore targets are a little bit weaker. I only have two of them now, so it made Spore a very easy side out in a lot of games. Uh, One level leader because I'm playing junk. This card is ridiculous. There's a reason it's banned. Among other reasons, just like link monsters. But for our purposes, this that card is ridiculous. I wouldn't run multiple because we're not in a Quasar format, so there's no point in trying to completely go off. But the one was definitely needed and very good. The final monsters were actually three Reborn Tengu. So I was not on this card for like years because I just like going off with stuff like Quillbolt Hedgehog or Tuningware, just like really going off. But I said to myself, if I'm gonna go into an online dueling book tournament with, and I have to try and top and play like 10 rounds maybe, depending on how many people there are, I cannot have just dumb little dudes in here that just lose to Max C. So I need to be able to stop if somebody Max C's me and just not lose. And Tengu is just an excellent card for just stopping. If I like go like normal summon Tengu, 1-for-1 discard, whatever, they Max C me, I just stop on Glow Bulb and Tengu, and I'm just totally fine. I will not die 99% of the time if I normal summon Tengu and pass. On top of that, this card makes this deck probably the easiest deck to Trish with in this format, besides maybe like an X Saber deck that just has like a turn where they go off with Gotham's Emergency Call. Because on turn 1, you just normal this, and on turn 2, if you have any level 2 non-turn in the graveyard, as in if you just max seed them on their turn or something, you can normal summon Junk Synchron, special back Max C or whatever, and then that plus Tengu plus Junk Synchron is the level 9 for Trish. So I think I Trished in double-digit amount of times in this tournament, which is ridiculous, and that was another reason to run Tengu. This card is ridiculous. I switched to being on this 2 nights before the tournament started, and I absolutely do not regret running this card. This card is absolutely ridiculous, and you would think it's like counter synergy with the Light Sworns, which it is. Like, milling a Tengu isn't the happiest feeling in the world, but you just need power cards, and this card is, I mean, it's part of the name of the format. It's Tengu Plans, so I just needed a very consistent good card to play a long tournament, and this card was absolutely insane in this deck. So in all future lists where I'm trying to win a tournament, I will be playing Reborn Tengu. That's it for the monsters. Under the spells, Charge of Light Brigade. I'm running Light Swords. For the power 1-ofs, we're on Foolish, Dark Hole, Mind Control, Monster Reborn, 1-for-1, Heavy Storm, Book of Moon, Scapegoat, which I guess is a little more of an unconventional pick, but for dumb guys that just block stuff is very nice. So those are all the power 1-ofs I'm on. I did multiple times. If you have this and like Quick Draw, you can summon a Junk Destroyer that pops 3 cards, which is hilarious. So yeah, the Scapegoat is very good. Like, at worst it's blockers, at best it facilitates your synchro plays on the next turn. To go with the Heaviest Storm for Spell and Trap Destruction, 2 MSTs. I want to be respectful of back row decks, but I didn't want to have brick cards in my hand game 1. Especially if like there were a lot of Asian players or what, and there was, at least from what I played against a lot of stuff that weren't back row decks. I did play against one hero player, but other than that, I was against a lot of Asians or like Frog Monarch deck, so where these cards were underwhelming. So this ratio is good for the main deck. I was also considering main decking Decree, but I went against that because of the concept that I thought not a lot of people will show up to an online tournament and just sit there and play TG Stun, or like, I thought the best thing that people play with a quote trap deck is heroes, because people like heroes. So I had a better call in that, and that made it very nice to just have the treacherous instead of main deck Road to Craze. I just put them on the side. Yeah, for the search cards, I'm on the 3 tuning and the 1 reinforcement of the army. So what I did was, if I saw Thunder King game 1, I sided 2 of these out, and maybe like the Rhoda or the Charge of Light Brigade. So I was not losing to Thunder King, and people love that card, and that they love that card against me. So especially games 2 and 3, if it's in their side deck, they'll put it in. So I started getting rid of everything that searched I saw they were on Thunder King. So, but over on the main deck, I won 3 of these because I want to see this card. This is Rhoda for my archetype, plus it mills a card, and sometimes you just mill the bulb and win the game or something like that. So that's nice. The final spell card was Avarice. This card is ridiculous in my deck, especially with Tengus. If you just randomly leave the 3rd Tengu on the board and you think you're safe, and I just shuffle the other 2 back in, you are in for a very bad time, essentially. Yeah, this card obviously is insane, especially in my deck where I can just like, if I see this card in my opening hand, I can just go off as much as I can because I know I just have like recovery. So that card's great. Then, like I said, I was not on the main deck row to Craze, so I just ran the 1 Treacherous. This card overperformed. I even keep it in going 2nd because games are not over in a few turns a lot of the times. So just having a card economy +1 is very nice. It could have been this or Dust Shoot, but this is just good against everything. Like, I don't know. 2 for 1 is very nice. Yeah, that's where. Yep, it was this or main deck Roto Craze, and I went with this, and I was very happy about that based on who I played against. So that's the main deck. 42 cards. 42 because I couldn't find anything I wanted to cut because I had to shove 3 Tengus in here like 48 hours before the event started, and that became problematic for keeping it at 40, so we just ran 42 and moved on with our lives. For the extra deck, I have them in level order because it's easier to find them then. Formula standard, Armor Arm standard. I think I made everything in this extra deck but Armory Arm, so that was nice. Armory Arm is pretty niche with it being level 4, but you obviously need it. Sometimes you just need to make it. Junk Warrior, this card's insane. Oftentimes it's 3100 attack because of Doppel Warrior giving me 2 400 tokens. Frozen Fitzgerald, this card is insane if you're on Raikos because it says your opponent cannot use Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison on you, and if it's the only thing on the board and it dies by battle, you just discard anything and bring it back. So this is a very safe card to go into. It requires specifically Junk Synchron and Raikou in my deck, but if you can run this card, it's very nice to run, and I was very happy. I think I made it 1 or 2 times, but when you make it, it requires them to have like Dark Hole, and if they don't have that, it's going to stick around for a while until I can make my own plays. Librarian's broken. I obviously run this. This card's ridiculous. Ally Justice Catasters and my other generic 5, very happy with it. 4 5s was definitely the number I needed. I went into like all these a lot. For the 6s, the Drill Warrior is a very nice card. I made it a few times. When I made it, I was happy. With only 1 quick draw, you don't make it too often because this one requires quick draw. All the other junk or like drill or like synchron monsters in the extra deck require junk synchron. So I can make them with that. This one I have to make a quick draw. But when you make this card, if they don't have Solemn Warning, they have a terrible time, and this card just outgrinds everyone. This can add back Junk Synchron, so you can always make a 5 every turn. It can add back BLS if you milled it or already did it. You can just do insane things with it. You can add back Max C against like another combo deck. If you get an established Drill Warrior and you can add back Max C from your graveyard every turn, you are absolutely winning that game. So this card, when they're not ready for it, auto wins you the game. Bryanak standard 6. Orient Dragon is my non-standard 6. I ran it because I was on 3 Max C and 2 Raikou. So I have 5 Debris Dragon targets that are level 2. So I need a level 6 dragon, and this is the standard one. I was on Arcanite Magician before because, as I said earlier, I was on 2 Chaos Sorcerers. So like Junk Synchron plus Lila or Chaos Sorcerer plus like Effect Veiler is Arcanite Magician, which is a ridiculous card. But because I cut it down to 1 Chaos Orc, I wanted something more consistent that I'd make. So sometimes I just needed a 2300 beater that I can make with Debris Dragon. So this is why this card is in here. For 7s, I'm on Junk Berserker. There's always an argument between Berserker versus Archer in a junk deck as the junk level 7, and my opinion is until Wind Up Zenmains comes out, there is no XYZ monster good enough that I need to banish it to get rid of its materials. So I'd rather just have a guy that's bigger than Stardust on base and then just lets me beat over everything. This card also has the added effect that at the start of the damage step, if it attacks a defense position monster, it destroys it automatically. Now that occurs before you flip summon, or sorry, flip the monster face up, which did come up. I did attack into a DD Warrior Lady with this, and it just destroyed it before like anything could happen. I also played against the Gravekeeper's player, which was my buddy playing the deck, and if Spire Guard don't go off and it just auto kills them, I have a very high chance of winning the game. So this card is absolutely ridiculous, and until Zenmains comes out, I don't think you need to run Junk Archer. I just rather have a bigger dude that has very good positive effects for my deck. For the other 7, Black Rose. Sometimes you just need to make the board go boom. I did not use the second effect of this in the tournament, but it is there. Yeah, for the 8s, Junk Destroyer, I mean, even on stream against the Asian player, I did pop 3 of his cards with this. I think off like a scapegoat board or something. It wasn't good enough because like I have a bad time with that the Asian deck. I think it was I think Letter Goat was it. He was the one that knocked me down to losers bracket, and then I met him again in losers semifinals where he swiftly 2-0'd me again. So I'm 0-4 against him. That was a bad time, but this card is very nice though. Sometimes it pops 1, sometimes it pops up to 3. So very cool card. It's nice having these awesome junk monsters that you're allowed to run just because you're in Junk Synchron. For other 8s, Stardust and Scrap, you make these more often when you have Tengu because you can make bigger dudes with a level 4 monster, because usually I run a lot of little guys, but yeah. Stardust is standard. Also, I'm not playing a junk Doppel deck without like the card, Stardust Dragon. That would be very dumb of me, at least flavor-wise. So made this card a few times. Scrap is very nice. When you think they have Gores or know they have Gores, because he added it off Pot of Duality, that was having something just ready to remove one of the parts of it is very nice. Final card, Trishula. Yeah, like I said, I think I made this over 10 times in the tournament. This card is completely ridiculous, and my deck makes it easier than everyone with Tengu, at least in my opinion. So, people were not having a good time against this. I think I was against the Frog player, game 3, and I think I trished his Ronin Tonin and his Treeborn Frog, and I think he was on 2-2, but I think he sided them out game 3. So like, because he was going like Swap Frog, send Dupe Frog, or like another Swap Frog, so he was completely gassed out of frog cards immediately after I resolved this Trishula. So yeah, this card's insane, and I can make this card very easily. Only other thing to talk about, no Shooting Star Dragon. I love that card, but it is very optimistic to get that far, because like if you can get to Stardust and Formula Synchron, you're probably already winning pretty hard. So that was the opinion or the justification around no Shooting Star Dragon, even though that card is very cool. For the side deck, there were 13 cards I were happy with and 2 I was very whatever about. Third MST for back row decks. I didn't play against a lot of them, but I'm giving the deck or back row decks the respect they need with the 3 row decree and the MST, giving me 1 heavy, 3 MST, and 3 row decree for back row decks if needed. The 1 trap dust shoot, in case I know I'm going first, I want my free auto win sometimes, which I did resolve this 1 time, and I believe it won me the game. I forget who it was against, but this card is ridiculous. 3 Cyber Dragon and the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. I need outs to Thunder King Ryo. That card completely kills me, even more than other decks, because I have 3 tuning. So if I see you run Thunder King, I'm siding out like two of these and like Rhoda, and I'm just putting these babies in and just hoping I hard draw this card. It's also just a 2100 asshole if they if it needs to be. It beats over like every normal summon in the game. It's also a light, and like I said, for my chaos cards, I have an easier time getting to darks than lights because of my junk synchron. So having the light ready for the chaos is very nice. There were no machine decks in the tournament as far as I was told or heard from like the commentators and stuff like that. So this card never really came in, but it was there. It needed to be there in case like Karakuri board just magically wants to turn into a 4000 Chimera Tech if I had the Cyber Dragon. It was nice. I couldn't afford to put it in my main deck either because this actually deck is super tight in this deck, so it was just in the side deck. 2 DD Crow, the respect to Dark World, along with every other deck in the format. I was against an Asian player, and they call the Haunted their Venus, and I'm like, well, they already have one dude on board, so I can't let them tribute summon for Arc Lord Christia, so I just got rid of it. That means they couldn't Master Hyperion if they wanted to. They couldn't tribute summon for Christia. This card was very nice. I had it used against me a lot. I used it against other people a lot. It's a dark for my Chaos Engine. It's a level 1 non-tuner in case I need to go into something like Armory Arm with my Junk Synchron. So this card was very good. Spells, 2 Smashing Ground. I hate Thunder King. I hate Thunder King. I hate Thunder King. I also do hate Arc Lord Christia and Master Hyperion. So this card resolved everything. Every time I was going second, I put this in. Every time they just had big monsters they made, like a Caius or something, I just put this in. It was a great card to run. The debate was between this or Enemy Controller. Because I run Tengus, I definitely could have ran Enemy Controller, and I might have sided changed these out for Enemy Controllers in retrospect. But this card was just great. Oh yeah, also I played against 2 players, I believe, that were side decking Vanity's Fiend. So yeah, just this card was great. This card overperformed. I just stick it in there if I see big dudes or Thunder Kings, and it's just good. Just good. 3-0 Decree, as I said before, respect for the back row decks. I sided 3 of these in against only I think against the hero beat player, because otherwise I played against a lot of spam stuff like hard summon decks. So I gave the respect that I needed. I was happy I didn't main this. Yeah, like if I saw like 2-0 to Craze and my opening hand game won, and I was not playing against back row deck, I was not going far in this tournament. So this in the side was great. Then finally the cards I wasn't sure about and was more just Dark World respect, I guess. 2 Debunk. Because I played against 2 players that had Treeborn Frog and stuff like that, and like Gores and Battle Fader and Trags and stuff, this card actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I don't think I ever actually resolved it though. I did set it against Gravekeepers because I needed any card that could do relatively anything against that deck, and because I believe it's Descendant, or I think no, Commandant searches Necro Valley by discarding itself. I just wanted this just as anything to just not get them to Necro Valley, because Necro Valley kills my deck. So that was nice, but I didn't actually, I believe, resolve this card. I might have in the future just chain this out for like 2 enemy controllers or something. It's hard because there's so many decks in this format that you don't know what you're gonna need. But this card's all right. I don't like Maxi, obviously, so I could definitely put this in against Maxi and just any like hand traps in general, because people usually are maining some number of effect veilers, Maxis, and Hail to the Orange Lights because I was playing against Asian players, on top of the fact that they will side DD Crone against me. So just this card was decent. I don't know. The theory behind it's solid, but I didn't actually resolve it. And yeah, perfect. Timing out did in activity just right at the end of it. But yeah, so shout out to everyone who ran the tournament. Shout out to TCG Rewind and Who Needs Meta for commentating it. I have to go back and watch the parts where I was featured. I think the only times I was featured was me getting blasted by Ladder Goat and his agent deck. That was a problem. That deck I need to have. Maybe I'll put in 2 Leash in the light as well. For that deck, because I guess I just need more stuff against agents. I don't know if I just have a bad time with that deck because they have big dudes and Christie and stuff, probably, but yeah, so as you can see, it was a win into immediately lose to agents into a huge 6-game winning streak up to losing to the same guy again. It was a lot of fun though. This was a great tournament. I had a great time, and I'm so happy I was able to top with this deck, because I just want people to know that in this format, you can play whatever you want as long as your deck building fundamentals are decent and you know the format. Especially, like, just look at what won the format, like, or won the event. Like, that deck is insanely cool. A lot of theory crafting behind it. Just a very simple sit there, slowly outgrind you, summoning Sangans back, resetting Call the Haunteds. That is beautiful deck design. And the winner of this tournament absolutely showed that you can just play whatever you want, and as long as you understand how the format works, you will do well. So that's all I have to say about this. Awesome tournament. Hope more people play in the next one. Great time. Also, shout outs to my boys Noah and Robert, who were the other two Junk Doppel or Quick Draw, whatever you want to call it, players in the tournament. They were playing the same list for me, card for card, because I primarily and Noah secondarily worked on testing this deck up into the tournament. And also shout outs to all the random people in the Tengu Plant Discord or just on Daily Book in general that gave me opportunities to test this deck beforehand. I put in an actual amount of effort into preparing for this, and I'm glad that it paid off. And I also just wanted to show people that you can play this deck in a format with 3 max C and not be trolling. That's it. So yeah, I appreciate everybody watching this. Appreciate everyone who played in the tournament, and I hope to see everybody in the next one. Goodbye, guys.